Do you like guns? Do you often look at modern gun design and think, hey, I can do better than that? Did you like Bionicles growing up? If so, then the Mod-9 might be for you. Let's get some things out of the way first. While these are two completely different guns, our knowledge from building the FGC-9 should definitely help us building the Mod-9, so I'll try my best not to reiterate the same points over again. But between the two, overall the Mod-9 is going to be better, with one exception. The magwell. The FGC-9's magwell is still amazing, compared to the Mod-9's magwell, that is. Mine had an issue of feeling both too tight and too loose. Perhaps this could have been a magazine problem. After all, I was using some cheap Korean ones I found online, but for some inexplicable reason, only the knockoffs could actually fit inside the mag weld. I'll speed the rest of it up for your viewing pleasure. If you want to avoid this issue, I would recommend downloading the V3 files and using the V3 magweld. There are no instructions, but if you knew how to build the FGC-9's version of a magweld, then you should probably understand how to build this one. But I can assure you that this assembly is going to be much easier than whatever the hell the spring wire thing was with the V2 version. So now that all that preface is out of the way, let's start talking about the Mod-9. There are three versions of the Mod-9, the V1, the V2, and the V3. All of which are based off of the WTF-9, which was also based off of the AP Shunty 9. What we have here is the V2, so strap in because this video is about to get very complicated and very technical. The knowledge about the Mod-9 is very sparse throughout the internet. Which secret dark web chat rooms am I going to need to join, and can I still use Chrome? These are reasonable questions to have that I don't have answers yet for. Some question if it even exists at all. What if the files were the friends we made along the way? Oh well. So what makes the Mod-9 special is its unique buffer system. This unique buffer system allows for an overall smaller frame and reduced recoil, so we'll be looking through at least 4 iterations of this buffer system. The maximum pre-tensioned hydraulic buffer system with no oil, secondary spring, my hilariously long buffer spring, and the extended hydraulic buffer cap, this time with oil.
I've been waiting for this.
Let's go over the basics. RP9 barrel was used. This is the bolt. Sadly, I couldn't make it this time. Though luckily I was able to get some help from someone who was more experienced than I was. Of course you can make this bolt on your own, just know it is a lot harder. I of course will try to make this on my own at some point later. Now I'm a man of science, so I was determined to figure out which buffer system worked best, even if I had to do the thing I hated most. Math. Let's take a look at some basic university physics. The force of the bolt is roughly around 20,000 kilonewtons. That's about 45,000 pounds. We'll be using our good old friend Hooke's law, F equals K times delta X. Our bolt weight is roughly around 540 grams, or 1.3 pounds. You still with me? Good, because now we're going to be looking at Newton's second law, F equals ma. We can now plug in the values for the force and the mass, so we could find the acceleration of the bolt. The value I found was 37,037 meters per second squared. I don't get it. A lot of the results I got just really don't make any sense and probably warrant some more testing. Plus, in case you didn't know, there is way more that goes into calculating this stuff. A lot of this stuff is kind of out of my expertise. And I ended up guessing for a lot of things. You can really kind of summarize most of what I did as me put big spring inside gun, so me keep hands. If spring no work, me put bigger spring. Yep. I'm probably gonna need to brush up on a lot of things before I really can even tackle this, especially fluid dynamics. So a lot of these results will probably not make sense. So if you're an engineer at home begging to play along, enjoy. Let's cover the first hydraulic buffer system, the one with no oil. I don't get it. The second one we'll look at is the very long spring. This was the second most consistent one out of all the buffers. For the most part, the recoil was always pretty manageable. However, we did have some failure to feed issues, where the bolt would slam down too hard on a bullet and pretty much crush it. Limb bursting only seemed to make the issue worse. This could have been a variety of issues, but for the most part, it was usually pretty consistent. Really, all these issues only happened to me this one range day. But since it did happen, I probably should let you know about it. So the jury's still out on this one. So try it at your own risk. It just wasn't as consistent as the next one, which is the one I would recommend, the extended hydraulic buffer system. The primary AK spring now needs to be 9.5 inches instead of 8, but out of all the buffers I used, this one was by far the most pleasant out of all of them. The recoil felt extremely manageable and I was always able to stay on target. Now with this extended system, you can either use oil or no oil. Most of the information you'll find about shock oil comes from the RC community. From what I gathered, heavier weight oil is usually better for heavier impulses, so big jumps for the RC community. We can maybe assume that this could probably be good for, I guess, recoil as well. Heavier weight oils also usually very viscous, and this kind of causes the shocks to have slower responses or slower rebounds. Keep in mind there's also a lot of other things you're going to need to be aware of, like if you increase your oil, you might also need to increase your spring strength. This is by far the most interesting way I've seen recoil handled so far, and it's probably been the one I've had the most fun on. There is still a lot of different testing I'm going to need to do for different shock oils, but if you're wondering which one worked best for me, it is the 60 weight silicone oil. I had a lot of fun using this one, so I would definitely recommend it to anyone that wants to try it. Now, some of you might be wondering about the secondary short spring. Depending on what documentation you looked at, this was the recommended one. I chose to already cut my stiff 4-inch spring down to 2.5 inches. Was it a good experience? No. The Mod-9 is by far one of the more interesting and unique designs out there right now, and it shows how far we've come from the days of the Liberator. And I haven't even mentioned the V3's internal extractor or the modular mag weld. All really incredible things that I can't test. But if you can, you definitely should. It's very much a worthwhile experience. And I bet this will probably not be my last video on it, because the Mod-9 is an ever-changing design. Either way, I'd like to thank Derwood, Mussy, and their crew for all they've done. Now I must ask y'all a very important question. What do you guys actually want to see me do? There actually are a couple things I am considering. I'm considering messing around with things like barrel length and printed materials to see how far we can push certain designs, since it can provide insight to people who want to make the same thing. And watching things break is cool. Maybe it doesn't even have to be gun-related at all. Wait a minute! Thank you, God, you finally gave me an excuse to pull her back out. I'd like to thank all of you who decided to subscribe. I will do my best to make sure I give you guys the quality content you subscribed for. And if YouTube ever decides that I am too spicy for their private platform, go follow me on Odyssey. They've been good to the 3D printed community, so perhaps I might be able to make some exclusives over there. Till the next time, I can't wait to see you guys soon.